At least we
But I
know that
guess-
the masks do work to some extent. It's just
Yeah.
at some point, you know, if it
From
goes further
the
than
from
that.
the health and safety standpoint, I totally understand that. I think from the policing standpoint, though, if we are able to talk to the police and say like, "Hey, if you see someone, like if you happen upon someone, you know, coughing on people intentionally, causing some sort of disturbance in that way," giving them the ability to, or at least the, you know, like priming them that if that happens, they have the right to detain that person and potentially arrest them for disturbing the peace or for reckless endangerment.
There was a bench trial. Yeah, there was a bench trial where it was determined that someone that is intentionally coughing on someone, whether they have the plague or not, that is considered reckless endangerment because I mean people have germs. You don't know what they're carrying. Like they could be carrying just the common cold.
I think we need to, we need to definitely get that information disseminated among the police department. Because I remember yesterday at the prison it happened, where Ember was going around coughing on people, as a joke, and Quentin pulled out his legal gun to get her to back up, and the police showed up at that point and detained Quentin, and Ember just ran away. So, it's.
Did he get charged, Quentin?
Quentin didn't, no.
Okay.
No,
probably just went through the process of being detained because he, they had to find out why he pulled his gun.
Yeah, well, they were going to charge him with brandishing, and there were just enough witnesses to say, like, okay, no, this was a self-defense kind of thing. He followed the protocol that he should have with his legal gun. He probably would have 311'd it if he hadn't been immediately detained.
I'm just catching up. I'll say Turner approached me about this in terms of like generalities. And I think part of it comes down to what the person doing the like infection is, sick with. Like if it's some like lethal disease, it could be attempted murder. Or it could be reckless endangerment, depending on the lethality of the sickness.
I will point out that in this case, since we haven't had any confirmed casualties from this, I could, or at least not.
Yeah, we've had a few locals actually pass away from it, so like we have had some casualties, but
Right. I'm aware of the locals. I feel as though like people, even if it's just a like general underestimation of what this disease is capable of, for people who don't know as much about it, they could very easily. I would almost say that saying it's an attempted murder is assuming that they have knowledge of its ability, when a lot of the time it seems like most people, even when they catch it, they're like, it's annoying, but I'm going on with my daily life.
I'm saying depending on the disease. Like if someone's going around with smallpox and just coughing on people and rubbing themselves on them, it's like,
well, that's just how you start a country.
Well,
wait.
What?
What?
Good one, Princess.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? So, why? I heard with this, when Ember was sick, she refused to be quarantined. How is that possible?
So, Ember actually ended up getting quarantined though.
She did
initially refused. She didn't know she was sick initially. She got sick and then went to the food court, got a few people sick, and then once she had realized she was sick, she came into the hospital, and I was able to get her to quarantine. The problem is we don't have a way of keeping them in quarantine feasibly.
Is there a way with the ice, like lock them up with the ICU doctor?
The problem is the only ICU that we have to do that in is the one at CMC, and we're trying to keep those people that are infectious away from CMC, considering we have patients that are in there that would become sick from it. So Sandy, we can get them at Sandy, but we can't lock them at Sandy. Like feasibly, we have no means of doing it. That there are no locks on the doors at Sandy, so we can't lock them, and say you have to stay here. And there's no way for us to get PD to, keep the Sandy on lockdown while there is a patient that's under, that's why Chatterbox, decided to do what he did. He refused to stay in quarantine and did not want to, even though, I did my best and I reached out to Turner and let him know about it. But
So
there's no way to keep him in quarantine.
we do have the legal mechanism to force a quarantine, though, right? Or am I? So just to, because obviously I don't have all the facts and telephone and rumor mills and whatever. The impression that was given to me is that there is no legal means to quarantine someone, and if someone refuses to be quarantined, there's nothing law enforcement or medical can do to counter that. That seems, if that is true, that seems a little backwards, and I think it's important to figure out what the story is with it, because tomorrow could come and there could be an entire 7 people, right, sick as shit, refusing the quarantine and getting the entire island,
I understand. That would be just, or Falconer, is there a legal means of us actually quarantining them, or like legally keeping them quarantined?
I'm trying to think. It would depend on how informed they are of what they have.
They don't need. Why would they need to be informed?
At that point, it'd be like if they are willfully disregarding the quarantine, they're becoming a danger to others.
Like
Nino said.
Yeah, in this case, you got Chatterbox, who should have been quarantined, but we didn't know. Like, he got, on his estimate, 45 people sick with this fever, with this black vein fever. And while some people, are fine, we've got like Jaina, who got sick to it, who's in the ICU and has been in the ICU since it happened. And
wait, what the fuck?
Multiple complications.
I would. Could you not just make the argument that it's, you bring someone in, you say, look, you're contagious, you need to be quarantined, and you not remaining quarantined is effectively attempted murder, right? You're just being out there.
At least.
Yeah.
The thing is, while no one has succumbed to this sickness as of yet, the earmarks of it getting to that point are there. Like, at some point, people will hit that phase where they will need to be in ICU, and it just isn't happening at the same rate for everyone. Some people are getting hit with it earlier than others. So while some people are walking around just fine and they've got the cough and they're coughing up blood, others are being ICU'd almost immediately. So it is a dangerous disease, and it does have the potential to kill people. It just luckily has not taken anyone's life as of yet.
Okay.
Do you think that's enough to say that it can be attempted murder?
I feel like that would be an argument legally.
Yeah.
I think it's
reckless endangerment, at least.
Yeah, I
think for sure reckless endangerment.
From your medical perspective, can this kill?
It 100% can. Again,
does it have a high propensity to kill?
Yes.
Then I think attempted murder, right?
But do the people doing it know that?
It doesn't matter.
It'd be at least manslaughter if anything.
Yeah.
Or at least if anybody dies.
Whenever we get one of them up there to test them, we normally explain it fully to them, what it is, what it can do, and not what it can do, but we tell them exactly how they're going to feel.
And also, let's be real here. Everyone calls it the plague, and knowingly that it's dangerous and that it's deadly. They know that it's deadly.
Yeah, in the case of Childbox, he weaponized it, right?
If you're able to charge someone with attempted murder for getting someone sick in this sense, then to me it seems as though you should be able to charge someone with attempted murder for selling any drug that has a high overdose rate. You're intentionally giving someone something that could kill them, but you are not directly causing them harm, and you have no way of knowing whether or not it's going to kill them.
I think the difference there would be that they aren't making that person take the drug in this instance.
Yes.
The person doesn't have a choice on whether they get sick or not.
Yeah. Also, in this situation, Chatterbox was strictly stated that, you know, this is a disease that could kill him, and he said, okay, well, if I'm going out, I'm taking others with me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to be figured out in court. I don't know.
It's like saying you take an AK-47 and you start firing it in the street with no intention of harming anybody.
In terms of like quarantining people, right now it's not like the cleanest mechanism, but if PD did an investigative hold, but that would make them have to be in the prison, mostly.
But then you deal with the issue of if everyone
Yeah.
sick goes in the prison
Yeah.
becomes just a
Exactly the problem.
meat grinder of giving people illness.
No, I wasn't around when these existed before, but Nino, you might have a better ideas. 5150 is a type of thing that could be used for this.
They
We don't have a
exist anymore.
facility.
Yeah.
We do have the SEMA camp
okay.
though.
The problem is we don't have the ability to hold them within there.
Yeah,
We'd have
that's
to
the
have-
ultimate. Yeah.
We would have to have PD up there like 24/7, and I don't think that's
Like
a possibility.
Yeah, the biggest issue here is feasibility, right? Like even if we have the legal mechanism for saying, "Hey, you're under quarantine and you have to be quarantined," we're still relying on them not getting broken out. And a lot of these people that are getting sick are criminals that have, you know, a lot of means of getting themselves out of things. And what do we do in that regard? Like, we can't really do much.
Yeah. So
I mean, it doesn't mean we shouldn't try, but still.
Let me pose a hypothetical. 5150s don't exist because there's no Parsons doesn't have locks. We may not have the ability to quarantine a living weapon because there is no separate facility for it. But we have Bolingbrook. When we're presented with an option between a individual that can be a harm to others and harm to themselves, in the case of a 5150, and a biological weapon walking around, you know, possibly marking people through the disease, why wouldn't we just put them in Bolingbrook? I mean, that's a much safer option to the majority, right? And
fair.
if the time were to eventually come where there is a facility in Bolingbrook, right, you know, carved out for 5150s, or a facility broken up for quarantines, then we advance from there, right? Isn't that the lesser of two evils?
Confinement in the prison.
Yeah, but
I mean,
lifers and stuff, right?
Yeah, the lifers. There's
lifers-
already one DOC that's gotten sick.
And then there's also the thing of we would have to work
So-
with DOC medical as well.
So here,
God forbid.
okay, I think it's possible. To be fair, I mean, like, since, like you said, the mechanism's there, at least in that regard, for Bolingbrook. Could we not help them set up SOPs to kind of deal with it? So, like, if we're sending someone up who's infectious, they have to be available to be able to take care of it, so that they can quickly get them into a quarantine space. I mean, there's multiple areas in the prison where they can put someone and kind of, you know, keep them in that area only, so that they're quarantined, right?
I would think so. I mean, it's like a lesser of two evils, you know. It's you let them run rampant in the openly throughout San Andreas versus at least it's a controlled environment.
Yeah, I mean, it would be more work on them because they would have to. I mean, obviously they wouldn't be able to free reign the prison, so they'd have to bring them food and whatnot. But I mean, at least that way the person would be quarantined for the time being, you know.
There's also that avenue too. Like recently, Bolingbrook got the, you know, the lifer facility. I don't think it's unfeasible that if a 5150 program or a quarantine program were to become successful in Bolingbrook, like it started to get legs, that there couldn't be. I would see that being more reason why construction may find itself up there. You know what I mean? Like fucking, you know, crack open one of the locked up you know, segments, and you know.
I mean, I think Gary could carve out like a spot in that place to do this. It just depends on how many people is going to be up there.
Well, I'm not saying
also-
that space that currently exists, but another facility, maybe even
but
inside.
just in the meantime while waiting on another place.
Sure.
Yeah. I think facility or no facility, it does make sense to put people in Bolingbrook for this kind of thing. but I would also say that it would maybe be necessary to have additional support for DOC up there, in terms of either like having the ability for doctors to go in and out, in order to give support for, people uh, who are sick in there, but also, maybe marshal support for DOC in there, in case anything happens in that regard.
Well, they can. So, in the meantime, work around just spitballing here. If someone is considered a 5150 with black vein fever, we send them up, but have DOC before you send them up. Make sure DOC are aware and to know that intercept them and maybe put them in ADSEC. Maybe a section in ADSEC where they can't escape. I know that there's
No. We're talking about
open cell area. That way, if you're dealing with
yeah,
patients that are
I've always
claustrophobic,
wondered
which I
why we
know
don't just use
Chatterbox is,
Bolingbrook for
we're
it.
not dealing with a whole other situation there. So temporarily put them in ADSEC. That way, they're not being a current danger inside the prison. In fact,
I mean, that's something we can figure out
I would
after
also
the
point out,
fact.
though, that they, we've had the issue in the past a couple of times where people in prison have died because there's not enough medical personnel in there, and if they're not being taken care of sufficiently. And I would be very worried that, especially because you've got Christian Toe, that's the only doctor able to get in there. EMS can't go into the prison. Doctors can't go into
Christian
the prison,
Toe's
except for I guess
I didn't realize he was
approval.
a doctor.
And, the worry would be if you put them in ADSEC and then forget about them for a certain amount of time, you might end up with a bunch of dead
Chad,
people.
are we actually
And
trying to take over Greenland, or is that
they're a
memes?
danger to everyone else, but they're also in danger because they have a disease that could kill them.
Wait, is it like actual, like? Because I'm looking at
Who's to
this.
say that
I'm getting bored of this
doctors can't go
conversation.
into Bolingbrook?
Mostly because
Our
this
head
is.
doctor,
So we need to make a call here.
or the board of directors.
I'm. Should
We've-
I?
We've never had the authority to go into Bolingbrook. Our only authority is within the Central Medical Center and Sandy Shores Medical Center.
Well, I think this is beyond like a scope of authority, though. I mean, we're
Yeah.
dealing with a plague. I feel like they should weigh this a little differently than you guys just rolling up there at will.
What are our next steps? Who would need to sign off, or there's a lot of opinions here, but is it fair to say we're kind of going in circles at this point? Who would be the decision makers on this, one way or another?
I think it'd have to be probably, in terms of prison staff, it's probably got to be a decision between the warden, justices, and then I guess the mayor's office.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
obviously, the
Well,
doctors
the mayor's
too.
offices would matter.
Yep.
Keep in mind here as
Probably
well.
Weiss.
This I feel like this should only be used in a sense of like if it's someone who's actively not going to listen, because people have willingly
Agreed.
quarantined up at
That's true.
Sandy, and I think that should be respected. If they're willing to just be up there like they should, then they should be able to, like, because we've had plenty of patients that have done that now. Princess was one of them. Barrick was fine, and so so was Ember. They all willingly sat there like they should have, and were fine. So I don't want to put people in a situation where they should be be put in prison, for no reason ultimately.
Yeah. So
like if they're willing to be up at Sandy, I think that is a perfect mechanism as
Mhm.
long as they're willing to stay there and quarantine correctly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like extreme cases of 5150 and extreme cases of patients that need to be quarantined for public health.
Yeah.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just clarification question. Isn't 5150 for people who?
It's usually a
are-
psych thing.
Yeah, I thought it was like
Mhm.
a psych thing, but I
It's
guess
It
not
is.
I mean-
allowed, and there's no legislation.
So why does that
for it
apply
right
here?
now.
Well,
It's two separate topics with a similar
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it could
Okay,
be
so-
argued that
okay.
someone who's willingly going around infecting people with a lethal disease is, perhaps psychologically compromised.
I mean, I would argue that you could say that about half the city. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that there's necessarily overlap. It's that it's two cases in which we haven't had a mechanism by which to handle them, but in both cases it can be very egregious, like a person that might murk people and eat their flesh, right? They become a danger to society and themselves. But I feel like this kind of, it would, if something needed to be put forward, it probably needs to start with SAMA and then maybe sign off by all legislative authorities, since it hits, you know, the mayors in terms of, you know, like, you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? Because it is a restriction of freedom, right? But then it falls into SAMA in terms of the medical aspects, both the psych aspect and the, you know, the disease aspect. And then, of course, a Department of Justice, since you guys operate, you know, the DOC runs under you. So, but
I also think in general, the whole doctors not being allowed in the prison thing has only caused problems. Disease aside, there have definitely been multiple situations where the prison just doesn't have enough medical staff, and someone is.
I'm so confused. Wait, why are they not in?
And fixing that issue, I think, is perhaps a broader scope than what we're discussing right now, but I think is very important.
Okay, cool.
When you guys say it's like a board of directors thing, that's like Derek Shaw.
Oh, I forgot about that. Right. Wait, do you think they'd be on board with this?
It's a 50-50. It's very hard to try and get in contact with him at the same time.
Is he even aware that there is? Is he even aware of black vein fever?
If we're talking about Derek, he's a little bit. Yes, he's not like fully informed by any means because he hasn't asked many questions, but he has been told that it exists. Yes.
Yeah.
I contacted him, I think 2 weeks ago. He can weigh in when needed. So
yeah, he said that to me too.
Yeah. So
I got back to me on something.
I think if, let's say, something like this needed to move forward on, I personally think the best option would be having a piece of legislation and then sending it his way and being like, here's the problem set, here's the solution, here's the legislation, what's your opinion? Or what's the contention points? And then going from that. I
got slightly distracted. What are we asking, Derek?
If we were to move forward on this, like, solution for 5150 holds and for extreme quarantine holds, given the board of directors would need to weigh in on that, since
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can push it to him and see what his thoughts are on it as well. But I do think what you said is good. Probably get the legislation written that way he can kind of look over it and see what it entails and make a decision based off that.
Okay, cool. I don't want to. I know this is your meeting there, so I don't want us to hijack it. Is this did we talk about the black vein thing sufficiently, or are there other areas that you wanted to discuss in regards to it?
I think we talked about most of it, but then there's also the I want to ask the marshals a favor and to keep on checking Humane Labs.
True. Yeah, I think that's something that we need to discuss more in detail.
Because my contact within Humane Labs, I know that Chris has already taken a report for this, so Doc, you should be able to see it. Yeah, Princess, I didn't tell you this fully because I wanted to wait until we weren't on the phone call to each other.
Yeah, of course.
There was 112.5 milliliters of treatment for the black vein fever that was destroyed at Humane Labs.
What the fuck?
Yes.
That's like 300 something.
That's enough for 300 patients.
What, 3 days ago?
Intentionally?
I don't know. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but somebody went in there and destroyed it.
Yeah, it was as far as I'm aware, there was an interception to a transport that the individuals intercepting it may not have known what they were destroying. They were doing so for
what the hell?
They were just told to destroy things, basically.
Yeah, they weren't told what they were doing. Mercenary kind of thing.
What I was
They admitted
told,
this?
I got contact from
Hey, what
Dr.
the
Smith,
fuck?
the individual involved, and he said he had no hand in this.
That's what he told me as well.
Right, so in other words, not credible information.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I haven't.
But who's the contact in Humane Labs, though? I mean, you have one besides him.
We're keeping that
the name secret because
confidential.
Oh, right. I'm not asking for the name. I'm just saying, did someone say this that wasn't Dr. Smith?
Wait,
or was it all like was Dr. Smith the only person that has said something about this? In which case,
Dr. Smith said that, but the thing is, I was told by my contact about the entire thing. I've been in communication with them to try and hopefully get the treatment and hopefully help in some way. But since that incident, he has
I got questions about this, Perry. So this
Please-
contact inside
please
Humane Labs
ask how we
supposedly
don't know
obscure.
this.
Were we, I guess, PD and law enforcement?
Exactly.
Of the original, because there was one shipment I was meant to get.
What the fuck is happening?
Is that the one like
Right,
about a month ago?
I remember that, but I'm on about this one that you're on about.
This one, I was only informed about literally a couple days ago when he told me it was destroyed. I didn't even know there was a shipment coming to me that time.
Why would we not have been informed about the actual transport
know.
so we could protect?
Yeah.
I think I don't know either. That's
Yeah, there were no reports made in regards to information about the transport either. I scrubbed through them and looked.
And I'm assuming we have no idea who it was that intercepted it.
There are, I believe.
What the hell?
Possibly.
But you know? How would I know?
who
I don't know
done it,
anything about
A
this.
group that might have done it, but
Okay.
possibilities right now. They don't know, but it lines up, is what they said.
So it sounds to me like law enforcement had no idea, and there may potentially be a police report about, some blown up thing, and inside of it might be a bunch of like rotting, treatment, I guess. I'm with you entirely, Dark. I'm floored by this as well.
I will say, I'm not trying to kind of sow dissent here or whatever the fuck the term is, but
yeah, no,
I've got valid intelligence that there was individuals inside Humane Labs, at least prior, that were working with the faceless.
That's
so
what I
we've
was
got
going to.
we've got to take everything that comes out of anybody at that lab with a grain of salt, and I recommend relying on people in the SAMG to try and figure this out versus outside sources.
Yeah, and I don't like the aspect of using Humane Labs right now very much, but I mean, like, also we're coming up empty on trying to create our own. So I unless they're willing to share their information so that we can actually try and produce it ourselves.
Wait, what?
I don't know what we can do.
If we had gotten those treatments, I imagine that wouldn't have necessarily even been like we don't even know what that is.
Humane Labs isn't a conglomerate, though, right?
What do you mean?
So when I sort of rewind history, way back to like a year ago, with the original Black Goo, and then the situation, like I think it was like a week or so afterwards with the faceless and some scientists, and fast forward again, there's like this entity working in Humane Labs, another entity. What I'm trying to say is that the Humane Labs, the people that work there aren't necessarily a conglomerate, right?
I I get what you're saying. There's a lot of shit that goes down at Humane Labs.
Precisely. And I am, from my understanding, there are individuals quite legitimate that have worked out of Humane Labs as well, right? And so
the problem is verifying the legitimacy, right?
And especially of an actual product that comes out of there. I think probably
That's
the only use of that treatment would have been for you guys to test on it and see if there's a way to learn from it. But I don't think that it would have made sense to.
Well, did the serum
actually give people that?
But so this antidote or whatever you want to call it,
treatment.
Did it come out of Humane Labs? Is that what was destroyed?
Yes.
Yes.
So we know that it was manufactured at Humane Labs and it was supposed to make its way to the hospital?
Supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know that they are producing these treatments at Humane Labs. That for a fact we know.
Do we even know
shipment,
anyone over there?
She has a contact.
Yeah, only my contact.
And that contact works for Humane Labs?
Yes.
How much do you trust them?
Like, is it do they even have credentials?
Everything they've told me so far has been very truthful.
But do you trust that they are producing legitimate treatments?
Do you want to weigh in?
Them? I mean, telling the truth is one thing. Dr. Isaac Smith tells the truth.
Wait, what?
One of the treatments that was stolen.
Wait, huh? Wait.
Back in the day, that's one of the ones I took.
I feel like I just missed a chapter. Isn't Dr. Isaac Smith the guy that spreads the plague? I mean, the last thing I know is the book. So
yeah, no, he does. I only brought him up because there's people who tell the truth but are still not to be trusted.
This person, I believe, is to be trusted. Everything he said to me has been truthful so far.
And just to clarify, there's a difference between this treatment and the cure that Dr. Isaac produces.
From what I can tell, possibly, yes.
Okay.
So this biological terrorist is also making cures to his own terrorism?
Okay, to clarify, Dr. Smith is not Perry's contact inside your
No, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're different people.
Two different people.
Yes. Dr. Isaac Smith or Pestilence, as it were, does not work at, nor is he, working for Humane Labs.
This is all very confusing to me.
Well, I mean, this entire situation is a little confusing considering it's not a natural sickness in and of itself. It's dealing with a fucking horseman. So I mean, let's be honest.
Jesus. Wait,
horsemen? I want
horsemen?
to ask. There's no horses. They drive cars.
Okay, it doesn't matter if they're cars.
Yeah, I know, but they're like horses. They're not riding around on horses.
Okay.
His point is that it's a weird thing.
Are they?
This isn't okay. So the best way I can place this for everyone in the room to understand is this is not a natural.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Hey, we can go in and
why
study it and cure
it seems like
this is
all of
being
Humane
controlled by
Labs
is not
is sus.
normal human entity. That's the best way I can put it.
There isn't a singular entity. There never has been.
But we still don't know
how
those treatments fully function or if they have side effects or anything.
Starts
the only
and
one
ends
that we've
here.
been able to get hold of
personally,
is nonsensical when I actually look at the data of it.
We need
it's not
to
something that I can ever replicate.
Trying,
trust me.
Scientific,
and as well as that, every patient
research instead of relying on
there's nothing in their blood to show
doctors
antibodies or anything that we can study to try and recreate some kind of treatment to work on them.
And yet, it does seem that people who get sick and then get cured don't seem to get sick again unless actively.
They do have
sick.
they have a.
I think you should
immunity to a degree.
Say something. But from the perspective,
it does not like if there is an entity that
biotech
is higher infected, they can still continue to get infected again. They're not immune to getting fully infected, but they are basically protected to a degree.
I want to ask like a clarifying. SAMA is the medical board, right? And I know there's doctors, but where is the biotech expertise coming from? Because there's doctors and then there's biotech engineers that manufacture cures. Where's this expertise coming from? I'm trying to understand that connection. You get what I'm saying?
Are you saying the treatments that currently exist, or are you saying
well,
like the
biotech? Research of it or potential? Because it sounds like that there's attempts to create cures at the hospital, but where I'm confused how that leap is happening, right? Like surgeons, virologists, etc. producing.
If you can find those people, that will be great for all of us.
Well,
a lot of this has fallen on Jackie and Perry's shoulders, and they've been doing a fantastic job with it. But there's, if we had unlimited manpower and
I don't know what she's saying.
People with the kind of like research backgrounds, that would be fantastic. But they're hard to find.
Is that what you guys were saying, Perry? Is that you guys are making that in the hospital?
Making what? If you were saying, are we researching and trying to create a treatment? Then yes. At Sandy, not at the CMC. We've been trying to work out a treatment that will help the patients that are currently dealing with it. Of course, I mean,
I gotcha.
But unfortunately, it's just a lot of it is extremely difficult to understand because it's not very. Every single patient we've dealt with has a different strain to a degree, is the best way I can put it. And it changes each time. So like we can't nail down the exact mechanisms that are causing the sickness. And the treatments that we've seen are not natural in sense. Like the one that we've tested, it's not that it created antibodies or like allowed the body to fight off the infection. It basically just removed it from them.
So who is it doctors that are doing it? Are these outside?
No. It's literally just me and her. That's what Princess just let you know.
Oh, it's you two that are doing it. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. Like,
we're the ones that are mainly dealing with the pet this entire thing, and we've been trying our best to keep it together.
I mean,
see. The hospital is
so it's not. It wasn't we SAMA. It's that you two actually, like you two individually.
As part of the hospital and the attendings, yes.
Can we get you scientists, biotech engineers, etc.? Would that be helpful?
I mean, I'm more than happy for the excess help if there are people that are
yeah.
If there are people that are skilled in that, we can use them. We unfortunately don't have that heavy manpower at the hospital, or we would be using it.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
We're kind of limited on who we have available to us, but if there is people that you have that are biotech engineers or are good at making are good at that, then we're more than happy to help to get the help as long as they're accredited and are willing to help the hospital.
Yeah,
and
as long as it's not just a random.
Little bit trustworthy. Yeah, I feel like a lot of our scientists around here are like scientists in the way that meth cooked are scientists.
Yeah, as long as it's not just some random person walking up saying there's something without actually like accrediting it, because that's the only issue we've had is we've had people walk up to us try and tell us they're these things, and it's like we can't confirm that,
Yeah, I'm trying to fill that logical gap of like where the bioscience is coming into play, right? And this is nothing, no attack on you two, right? I'm trying to, there's expertise in medicine and then there's expertise in biotech. It's two very different fields. There are some I'm going to send you your way. I definitely understand the accreditation bit, but if we can't rely on anyone from Humane Labs, that's a problem, right? But in the same way, I can't imagine we're going to expect people with a medical degree to come up with a solution either. It goes against science.
Right? We think that the formula of the stuff that was used could be like subpoenaed, or
You don't have
Humane
to
Labs
rub your
throw up all
fucking
sorts of like
yeah.
roadblocks in the way that it would take too long for it to even be worth it.
That's what I want to try and do. I want to try and get the formula from Humane Labs and then get help from the outside.
Mm.
Well, I think another overarching issue here as well is we had no idea that a shipment was even leaving Humane Labs to where, law enforcement could aid in
I want
transporting it
Jason to
and
speak
possibly
up.
intercepting anyone to interfere with it. But
I
it
want
also might be
Jason to
good
speak up.
work with people that are willing to work with us so that
I'm
you know,
confused.
law enforcement or marshals can be at Humane Labs while they are there, and also kind of watching over them and protecting them due to recent events that have happened there. I know since that I learned of the shipment being intercepted at
I don't know
Labs,
what the
I have been doing regular patrols and check-ins over there. But again, with the sensitivity of the content and things being made there and being done there, we need to know. We need to know, like, not necessarily details.
Wait, can I bring you up? Can I bring up your name?
They're there and active. That
Wait, hold on. Wait. Can I bring up your name?
Anyone else would try to interrupt.
I'd like to hear why they aren't involving a scientist and thinking.
That there was no protection.
I'm just confused.
Gold.
To be fair, from Humane Labs, I don't think they're fully informed on the situation as far as that. They're just producing whatever this is and then sending it out. So I don't think they're thinking from a perspective of, I need to inform PD so they can protect it. Like, they're thinking from a perspective of their normal
I'm only going to do it if
is,
she
hey,
says
produce
yes.
this, send it out in shipment,
But someone knows.
There might be another reason for it too. Like, it might be.
I'm not saying there's not leaks. I'm just saying like the entity.
Well, I'm just saying that they're working for someone. They are aware. Like, someone has to be aware of the illness in order for them to be coming up with some kind of treatment, and whether or not the scientists themselves or the producers know what they're producing, someone has to be aware of.
I'm just very confused.
In order for them to even be producing it at all.
Are these like kind of people? Are they locals? Are they
with this illness? But
who are? How do the marshals not know about it? Like,
is the treatment that
is this like 4 people just sitting in a room, just like making up shit?
Black vein fever?
It's very. That's why it's very hard to follow any of this. It seems all like
or are they
rumor.
Producing like some kind of Tamiflu that just happens to help with a lot of different things.
I mean, we haven't been able to test any of the ones to know if it is effective on anything else. The only thing that we've been able to seems to be effective on everything for the most part, but I don't know if that one came from Humane Labs. So I can't state that verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bring in science guy. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of.
Well, I guess actionably, we've got marshals patrolling Humane Labs. Hopefully, the contact that you have, Perry, is able to reach out to you if there's another sort of shipment of this.
Yo, chat, you ready to go to kick? Is it kick time? I think it's kick time.
To get their formula, that would be fantastic. Other than that, at the moment, it seems like we're shows that are being given by.
Remember, chat, today's stream has been sponsored by Factor 75.
Very curious to observe and see if there's any sort
exclamation mark Factor panel in chat.
And what kind and
get 50% off your first order. Try it out. Comes out to $4 a meal. Why not give it a shot? And every sign up is an additional 2 hours to the night-a-thon.
These cures that
let's go ahead and light up.
Won't cause something.
Kick.
Has long-term effects either. So
Sure, but we also don't know that about our cell phones. I think.
I mean, at the end of the day, right now, the only thing we can say is anyone who has been, had gone through these treatments, hasn't shown any adverse effects to them as of yet. I
feel
don't know
fine.
the long-term effects of it by any means, but there are no short-term effects as of yet.
And there are, certain bits of, I guess I would call them propaganda that have been, spread around that have said things like, "Oh, be careful if you take the cure; it's got all these effects." And I know certain people are feeling very, are very hesitant, reluctant
Yo,
to
what's
take
going
the
on,
cure and are
kickers?
refusing it.
We're gonna be swapping over to
because
Kick,
of these bits and
guys.
pieces that we know
Kick.com/dasMEHDI. We'll continue the stream over there.
Pestilence isn't the one
But go ahead and
warning us. We don't know
pin it up.
what the credibility is of those sources, but there's definitely some amount of someone out there is giving people warnings about this.
Yeah, I believe there was a book left at the BCSO indicating something similar, that the cure was not all that it seemed.
I heard something about this too. Something about like the cure is allegedly like mind control or some shit like that.
The book that was left at the police departments is called The Cure. It was a book, essentially a fictional story that says, it has a disclaimer. It's like, this is not a real story, but consider how similar it might be to your situation or something like that. And it basically is just TLDR, a story about a doctor who comes to a town.
Useful talker with the 6 months.
I know how to cure it. Gives a bunch of people a cure. Everyone starts questioning it. They're like, "How do you know the cure?" And then he is like, "Haha, I actually developed the illness, and that's why I know the cure. And actually, now everyone who has taken the cure has superpowers." And then all the people who have the cure are like, "We're better than everyone else," and they create a class system, and anarchy ensues.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically, the moral of the story in and of itself was that he was perfecting people, quote unquote, in his way, but changing them, in the process. Because that thing was saying that, their emotions and whatnot changed. They were not the same people they were originally.
And weirdly, one of the characters had my name, which freaked me out. But that's probably coincidence.
Probably. But regardless, we haven't seen any changes in anyone that has received the cure or the treatment itself. It has.
How you guys doing? How you guys doing?
Changes in anyone's
What's
mental,
going on? I'm not really sure. I'm slowly fading out.
So technically a positive.
Because I'm not really know what the actionable thing here is. It kind of feels like they're looking for next steps, but I don't really know what to provide.
No,
we're kind of just
any of our treatment methods.
I want to see Jason
the only thing
say something personally.
Is, stave off it from going any further.
But I don't want to push her to do it either.
In them, but we have no other means of actually curing it or removing it from their system.
I'm not going to do it unless she says. I did ask her though.
And as well as again, Pestilence is not working with Humane Labs, so he is not the one producing these treatments.
Do we have any evidence that it has been created?
The treatment, or
yeah, is that the same? Is that ties back to the unnamed contact, right?
I'm confused. Are you talking about the treatment, or are we talking about the sickness?
The treatment.
I mean, we've seen the vials themselves. I mean, so we know they are being made. Yeah.
I see, and that's separate from the pestilence ones.
I don't know if any have come from Pestilence at all himself.
Oh.
Well, but the vials that Pestilence has, the cure or whatever it is, the red vial, that's not the same as the thing being produced at Humane Labs, or is it?
I don't know on that one. I couldn't tell you one way or the other, and unfortunately, I mean, we have not. The only ones we've seen from that end have been directly from Humane Labs, and generally they're given to people immediately, and we can't really do any research on them.
So you guys haven't directly seen the ones provided by Pestilence?
We've only seen one from Dark himself here, but that one I don't know if that came from Humane Labs.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, so I think that one is different.
But Perry got the one from Humane Labs.
Under duress, I had to take it.
Yes.
So Jackie's seen the Pestilence one. Perry has seen the Humane Labs one, but neither of you have seen the other one. Is that what I'm hearing?
Pretty much.
Okay. So at the very, like, just super basic, were both of them red?
Yes.
Don't think the one that Dark gave me was red. I can't remember though. Dark, do you remember?
Yeah,
Was?
if it was
Okay.
from Pestilence, it's the red one.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's possible it's the same one.
Is it possible that none of the Humane Lab stuff is true? If they're both red, I'm being very skeptical here, right? Because we talked a lot about things that supposedly happen, and as a very, as a massive skeptic, right? I'm just wondering if there's even truth to any of what we've been hearing. I believe we heard these things. I'm just questioning whether what was heard actually happened or was just bullshit.
I don't think anything is confirmed now.
Like
anything from Humane Labs is yet to be confirmed. Given we haven't got our hands on anything.
Like I'm imagining in the back of my head, like Zebra doing some like wild shit in Humane Labs, saying he's got a cure and all this, and it just spreading around, and none of it's actually real.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Pestilence is aware of the supposed shipment being intercepted. Whether that's accurate or not,
Dr. Zebra,
up to whether you believe him. But whatever the case, I think even if the interception did happen, I agree with your skepticism, Nino, and I think that there's no way to confirm that it even happened. But if it did, there's still no way to confirm that the treatment was viable or that it was even a treatment. And I personally wouldn't trust that if we were able to, find any of that treatment that had been intercepted. I don't know if I would trust it to.
Chat, can you do !factor in the kick chat? Oh, okay. She's dealing with intro. Okay.
I think that's sorted. Then we've got Pestilence handing out his cure, and then we've got a possible treatment being developed at Humane Labs.
I just think they should be leaning on expertise.
Dr. Legs here doing the right
I
thing
don't understand what the harm is.
So it can be tested.
Oh, it's working! Yay!
That's it. We're done. To keep going back and forth on this, I think.
Okay. Yep. 100%.
Is there anything else plague related we need to talk about?
There was anything more you wanted to go through?
Okay, I got the ExpressVPN on up as well. There we go.
I mean, unless anyone else has anything they want to talk about it specifically, I think that's it from our end.
Okay, hell yeah. All right. Hey. All right. Hell yeah. All right.
I think the only thing I'll say is, if anybody here is getting contact about anything related to this, just make sure you're contacting, law enforcement, preferably, of the detective type or marshals like myself, Peters. Just keep us in the loop about everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's probably go straight to the marshals. I mean, BCSO is banned from investigating this stuff, so.
NoPixel is still doing their side of things, though. So I mean, like Aaron and Doc Masters are available.
Yep.
Wait, then
the band.
Yeah.
That self
Aspen has self-banned. Aspen has requested that none of her investigators go into this because a lot of them got sick and nearly died, and there's just a significant amount of danger associated with this that is beyond anything that they have the ability to match.
Okay.
And Pestilence has made it very clear that the investigation is what is causing them to get sick.
Is that not like borderline dereliction of duty?
No.
No, because the issue from their side is what are they going to do from a law enforcement side other than like they'll follow up any like information that's given to them, of course. And that's their job. They will, but they like we've said, they're not arresting this guy. He literally has been shot by people and nothing's happened to him. Like this is not like you can't put him in jail. So what is PD supposed to do about that?
I love that Nino is a skeptic on all this.
He has directly made
and
people
Brian
sick
is
and then
like
made them
knee
sicker
deep
for
in like.
investigating and said, you are on a
I
space strike
intentionally play Nino as a skeptic when it comes to this stuff
if you continue
because he hasn't seen any of it. Like, think about it from Nino's character POV. It's just like they're talking about hocus pocus.
Of of Sheriff Gray banning BCSO. In return, she got 2 vials of the cure.
Was that handed over to the hospital?
We have not
Handed
received any
to
cure vials. No.
Specific people to cure them. But again, that's unconfirmed.
There's also been, I mean, a large number of people who have been given at least one.
Well, no,
potentially multiple
believing that the plague
to
exists
other people.
is different than
I still don't seem
believing
to
the
have the best
rest of
taste for
it.
people who take the cure
You know, like
themselves,
Norman Bones and Purgatory, and
gives it to people
there's
who
these
aren't sick,
people
other
at
people.
Humane. There's no evidence of any of it.
told
It's
you
just
this?
he said, she
Yes,
said.
and experienced it firsthand of him giving it to people. I haven't experienced him giving it to people, but people who have it give it to other people. I was told that certain individuals.
Ladies and gents, we're moving over to Kick right now. Go ahead and jump on over.
Them selfish for what they are doing.
Rest of the stream is going to be continuing there. This one's going to be turning off momentarily. I'll see you over there.
Chatterbox was given 2 cures, and those went to Happy.
And remember, if you're new,
Twinkles, both
you should hit that follow button.
How often are you talking to this guy?
Me?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've talked to him maybe 4 times total. He has a tendency to pull up on me when I'm parked on the side of the road, like on my phone or something. But a lot of this is from secondhand information or information from people, you know, who have talked to him. I mean, like I said, there's a...
I think his ears were burning because he's calling me right now.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, great.
Not surprising.
Wait, Princess, who did you get your vial from?
Also, just a quick thing before that. Heads up, by the way, he, like I said, this is not a natural entity. He literally listened to this entire conversation, just so you all are aware.
For sure.
Okay, guys, like, all right, like, I had a feeling we were about to enter back into this whole. There's no such thing as like fucking ghosts.
Nino,
and,
unfortunately, there's
you
no
know,
space for skepticism in this conversation, or
I-
else we're not going to get anywhere with it.
No, it's not even that.
All right.
You know, like legitimately, he has literally called to me after talking to someone on a radio, which he
Guys.
heard the entire thing.
Guys, please.
He's waved his hands and made people sick and not sick. Like there are people who have literally been cured by a wave of a hand.
So you're telling me David Blaine is like going and like getting a bunch of people sick, and it's not like
I'm telling you, yes, there's a fucking yes, there's a fucking someone who has powers that we don't understand doing this.
All right, okay,
that's coming from a doctor. Like I'm not trying to fucking sit here and say that it sounds sane by any means.
You know,
but
I've
unfortunately,
seen
that's where
David
we're at.
Blaine, or like what's that guy? The guy who like went inside of like a water tank for like a week or whatever and survived.
David Blaine.
It was David Blaine too.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who's the other one? The one that's a little bit more.
Copperfield.
David
Okay,
Copperfield. He was a good one. Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about people
Procedural.
setting things up ahead of time to make it seem natural, come on now. This is
Oh
not
my
that.
God.
Yeah,
He
look,
does
we've
this on
seen
the drop of a
birds
dime
lighting people
anywhere.
on fire. We've seen people appear and disappear out of nowhere. We've seen people adjust their opacity. It's
He's
not.
He's literally been shot multiple times with a 50 cal and was fine. Like that.
So
you
was
can't
every
set
gang
that
in the
up.
city.
No, like he didn't even go down. Like he's standing just fine. Walked away, no problem. Like not, hey, I went to the
He's a hell
hospital.
of a drug.
He wasn't taking anything. Like hello.
Let's stop talking about that. Princess, who gave it to you? That's all I
Who
want
gave the cure to me?
Yes.
I don't know.
How do you not
Fucking
know who gave
hocus
it to you?
pocus. You know?
I genuinely have no idea. It was given to me. It was given to me like second, third hand, from a, dumpster. Like, it's a.
Well, who told you to look in the dumpster to get it?
Yeah.
I wish I knew. There was a.
God told you to look in the dumpster?
No. It was an unknown number.
Huh.
I'm sorry, but like, come on. Oh, there's so much about the situation that smells like shit.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, everything about this is insanity. There's crazy stuff going on, and unfortunately, skepticism in this case doesn't really help the situation because.
Yeah, but there's no like evidence, right? Like, so this is the plague, right? And I want to explain why. I can't imagine I'm the only one in the room that's sick in this. There's a plague, obviously. People are getting sick. But like, disappearing acts and like, things supposedly happening. Like, where's the photographs? Where's the evidence of this? How do we know it's not being transmitted, through conventional means, right?
I guess you just gotta see it to believe it, Nino. I asked for it and I got it.
The plague?
Yes.
Yeah, but let's say,
like I said, there was a 3-strike system. Charlotte Spade was on her 3rd strike. She went blind. She was not going to survive the plague. I spoke to Pestilence. This is not, this. I asked him to give her mercy. I said that I would take one of her strikes. He made me sick right there and then. No one else was around. It was just him and me. He said, "Careful what you wish for," and then I was sick. Immediate coughing. And then I asked, is Charlotte going to be okay? And he said, "I have granted her mercy." I get back and she's not blind anymore. And now she's still sick, but alive. Whether or not that was, just her immune system took care of it, and it would have been fine no matter what. Whatever. That's all I can say. There's, look, anyone who's seen any part of this can tell you that it's true. We've seen birds cure people. We've seen birds light people on fire. We've seen people, die and then undie, and we've seen, ghosts or something. Is there any way to confirm any of it's true? No. But I feel as though in this case, that's just simply another aspect of what makes it difficult. If it were a plague like any other plague, and all of this were just some guy doing something, biological terrorism, whatever, then you wouldn't have the 2 doctors sitting here telling you that the strain changes every single time in a way that is not natural. Cures seem to be provided by someone at will who just can wave his hand and make people feel better and also make them sick, and who can listen into any conversation.
I mean, so far it sounds like it's similar to COVID. COVID, who knows if this guy like fucking made this shit in a lab and is, as a mechanism by which to administrate it. Like those things I believe. Some of the other things, I just, seeing things coming and going. I mean, if you're sick, it falling in and out of consciousness is not, Uncommon, exactly, right?
I was sick for 2 days. This has been going on for a lot longer than 2 days. I can't tell you to believe something, but I can tell you that skepticism in this regard is not going to lead to any benefit to any of this. I mean, everyone can feel free to be skeptical, but there's not room for skepticism in this discussion if we want to actually
But if I'm to believe that it's like some magical, David Blaine thing, then I then have to accept that it's possibly unsolvable, right?
Yeah.
Because a solution inherently must be rational, right?
We don't know if it's curable. We don't know if there's any way to fix it. We don't know if this is just the Book of Revelations apocalypse. We're all gonna die. Judgment Day. The best we can do is try to help in any way we can.
Just out of curiosity, that beep beep, that wasn't Doc by any chance, was it?
Let's go.
He's circling Sandy.
Chris?
I need to know if that was dark.
I do.